we bring your boy Elon Starlink. Yes. I know you and Elon have a good thing.
Yeah. We're good friends.
I was talking to him the other day.
Yeah.
And he loves your commentary on him.
Like when his baby mama came on the show, Grimes.
Dude.
That did happen.
Did that cause a little, I saw, did that cause a little issue?
I mean, I'm sure he knows who I am, but I don't think he's too fond of me regardless.
Really?
What? I fucking rip into him all the time. He sucks.
But wait, why does he suck?
He is like the perfect definition of a fucking con man. I'm supposed to love everything he does normally, and you're supposed to, like, he's literally in the renewable energy space. He's doing space exploration. Love those things, right? But he is such a fucking rugged capitalist con man that has been able to like use energy credits to his advantage. Every single industry that he's in, suspiciously, only operates off of government subsidies.
Okay, this is, I think, a reasonable criticism.
Yeah.
Can you explain the energy credit thing? I think a lot of people don't understand how.
In order, within a capitalist framework, in order for us to try to reduce our carbon emissions, our output, what we try to do is incentivize companies with tax breaks or direct dollars.
These are car companies.
Yeah, car companies, and every company has some kind of.
Oh, you can buy energy credits for him even if you're not a car manufacturer?
Car manufacturers do this with the energy swap, but other companies do this too, like landowners do this, for example. John Oliver had like a big takedown on this thing that people do usually. Well, they'll be like, this is underdeveloped or undeveloped land, and we're offsetting carbon by not using this land. Give us money. So
that is
of course
brilliant.
This is what's happening essentially. Like, so the government stipulates how many, like what your energy output has to be for your company, for the amount of cars you're putting out.
So if you are not making a fleet of EVs, right, and like
you're
reducing, and reducing your
carbon emissions,
carbon producing cars, then you can go and like.
Every one of his cars is not producing any carbon.
Exactly.
So now he has an excess of energy credits. So Ford, GM, and all these other companies
they go to
can
him
essentially
and
buy
they
his
give
energy
him money.
credits.
Exactly.
And some might say that that is why Tesla is so profitable.
No, that literally is the reason.
I don't know the economics of it, so I can't say.
That is mainly the reason, especially because like he has done
brilliant though.
He's done the same shit over and over again, where he'll just be like, "We're gonna do battery swaps." Never happens, but it doesn't matter because the stock price reflects. Like
what he says is going to happen.
What he said is going to happen. Tesla is not a car manufacturer; it's a technology company, which is why it's like valued at like
50
10x.
to 1 instead of. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, tech companies have a higher valuation.
Yeah, and you know everyone wants to be in on the unicorn, so like everyone is invested in it. And it becomes this like too big to fail scam, basically.
Yeah, because if we're all invested in your success and my savings are invested in your success, the last thing, I think this is why we feel like the stock market was floated a little bit when the pandemic came, because it's like, if I'm all in, baby.
Yeah, no, but that's how it works. They actually privatized what was otherwise known as like pensions and Social Security through 401ks. So even if you're fucking working at a kitchen or some shit, even if you're a chef, and you're upper middle class, you think you have an ownership stake in the stock market, because when the stock market is doing well, you feel like you're doing well, even if it's like fucking marginal. But when the stock market is doing poorly, those losses are socialized. So you're definitely fucked if the stock market is doing poorly. That's why everyone feels like invested in it, despite the fact that 90% of the wealth in the stock market is owned by the top 10% of wealth. Which is fucking nuts. And if you're a fucking chef, you're not in the top 10% of wealth, brother. Like,
isn't that the case with all wealth, though? Isn't like 90% of wealth always held within the top 10%?
Or the, Jordan Peterson Pareto principle.
What is that?
He says it all the time, the 20% or the
80-20 rule.
The 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle.
20% of the people make 80% of the things or something like that?
Or the output is like dictated by 20% of the people,
Right.
The top creators.
And that's not necessarily that bad. You're saying that as long as the people that are helping the creation of that are getting paid a reasonable wage.
Yeah, reasonable wage, and have like some control over their lives. You know what I mean?
Does anybody look at you and be like, I don't want that? I don't think this is a very unreasonable argument.
Small business owners all the way to fucking, CEOs and shit don't like that.
They would literally go, I don't believe that someone should have some control of their lives, and
if you ever got brainwashed into fucking going to college and like reading an econ textbook, the textbook literally tells you what I'm saying is wrong. it's just wrong, completely wrong.
The market decides what a fair wage is.
Yeah, but the market doesn't at all account for human nature. Economics doesn't. Anytime you talk to an econ guy, he doesn't ever seem to account for human nature.
Yeah.
The market
or
dictates.
human beings. They just think like, oh, it's a widget factory. Motherfucker, who's making the widgets? You know what I mean? A guy is making the widgets.
You know what I think also like manipulates reaction to this is like when you're in a creative field, there's a heightened value on creativity, right? Yeah. And especially with the people that are working right here, like every idea is very important so we can come to the best idea, right? So you want to compensate creativity as much as you can. I think when you're so far removed from the thing you're creating, like the guy who makes the widget, you've never had a conversation with him before, you're like, well, what does he need to make? What's the profitable thing? You're actually not valuing his creativity because you're like, I created the thing. Yeah. You're just screwing it in or putting it together.
Yeah, that's like that is what happens in an increasingly financialized economy. Where like the guy who's never stepped foot on the factory floor has the ownership stake and has the say, or he has even delegated the management responsibilities over to a board that has a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders. This entire complex system is built in a way where profit, which is extracted wages, like the additional compensation that you would normally get, that you're getting cut out of, and all control over your life as well, all autonomy in your life taken away from you, stripped away from you, is designed in a way to yield this kind of outcome.
But haven't you seen recently, like the fact that like people can work from home now, right? Yeah. Like my wife just went to business school. She's working her job. Her job says you only have to come in 2 days a week, right? Yeah. And they didn't say it because that's what they want. They said because the workers are like, I don't want to go back in 5 days a week.
Fuck that.
And then
the Great Resignation is the whole trend of people just being like, oh, I hate my job.
The quiet resignation.
And then now quiet quitting is another one.
Quiet quitting.
Great Resignation is
which is literally just like you're working.
Yeah, this is hilarious.
Supposed to work.
So Great Resignation first was a bunch of people like, oh, I hate this fucking job, I'm out. And now there's something called quiet quitting where employees are basically like, hey, I'm not going to go above and beyond what you've asked me to do. And employers are like, oh, you're quiet. That's called quiet quitting. And they're like, no, I'm not quitting. I'm just not going to kill myself for this. And like,
why would you?
Crazy.
That's insane. It's just, and that came as a consequence of a little bit of a tight labor market creating conditions that genuinely are supposed to happen all the time, which has never happened before because labor had no power.
Explain tight labor market.
A tight labor market is when there is an unemployment rate that is so low that there aren't enough.
They're not workers.
There aren't enough workers for the jobs.
Okay.
So now the
and that's bad.
The power is in the hands of the worker.
All of a sudden, exactly.
You get to stay home 3 days.
In normal econ conditions, when workers have more of a bargaining power, they can just say, all right, well, if I quit, you're fucked. Yeah. Right. What are you going to do? You can't fill this role.
That's a strike, essentially.
Yeah. And exactly. But that has not happened in the past because, well, two different reasons. One is because there's always an undocumented immigrant pool of labor that the American industry, especially like agricultural industries
take advantage of.
have always relied on to be like, okay, you're not going to do it. Doesn't matter. I'm not even hiring you. I'm hiring the guy that just came in from Guatemala. And if he ever talks back, I could just call the INS or now ICE on him.
Get another Guatemalan immediately afterwards.
And then go and do that. Which, by the way, Purdue, for example, the chicken factories, they do this. This is a part of, this is built into their profit margin.
It's calling ICE on the people that stop working.
100%.
I've heard
the government doesn't punish you. Yeah, and the government doesn't punish you severely enough for undocumented immigrants, so you can just take an L one time, refuse to give them back pay, and if they ever ask for back pay, boom, call ICE on them, pay the fine, and then go back to the fucking exact same neighborhoods that you have created, right? And bust people into those neighborhoods and have a steady pool of new workers that are desperate for a job.
There's my wife was telling me about they're developing programs that will track keystrokes on your laptop, on your work laptop.
Oh my God.
So this is fascinating. What workers thought was a blessing, which is I get to stay home, I do my laundry when I want, I'll sneak a workout in when I want to, but I'm gonna get my work done. As long as I'm getting my work done, the corporation is happy, we're happy, I have a much more happy lifestyle, everybody's good. And now they're starting to calculate keystrokes so they can tell if you're using your work laptop or not and how many hours you are using your work
what you're typing and what you're searching.
So now there are programs that move your mouse automatically, so it looks like you're doing something.
That's what I'm saying.
So this is, real quick, just to this point. So I guess what I'm saying is like what they thought was going to be an advantage now has allowed the corporations to spy even more intently.
Yeah.
If you're at work, they know you're there, so like, okay, we don't need to look over their shoulder every single second.
Yeah.
But they've developed software to be on you every single second.
To Al's point, there will immediately be somebody who's like, here's a workaround.
Right.
Like,
but not everyone has access to that workaround and knowledge of using that workaround. But what you are describing is basically something that Karl Marx understood fucking 200 years ago.
Yeah, who's he?
He's just some bearded dude. Wrote some texts,
Musician,
you know. Yeah. He was a poster.
Yeah.
He was a big poster.
Yeah.
Dirty, schlubby guy.
With the mustache and nose and the glasses.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, the comedian.
Oh, yes.
yeah, with the cigar.
Yeah, I had some interesting ideas, but like you have to always squeeze out as much profit as you possibly can. And profit is making sure that your workforce is working as efficiently as possible. So that is another way to surveil their efficiency, to ensure that they're fucking working, because God forbid. Now, the irony, of course, is that a lot of these office jobs, as we all know, if you've ever worked in this workforce, like if you're not in the service industry especially, like I did a job like that, you know, I did biz dev, right? And it's like, you're not working 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You could literally bang out, you could fucking snore some Adderall and literally bang that shit out in like maximum an hour and 30 to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just like hanging out by the cooler.
Yeah.
So that's how it used to work back in the day. But now I feel like they are going to try and
squeeze
really
8 hours out.
monitor, and try to get 8 hours of fucking work out of it, which is insane. But all manner of technological improvements without any sort of labor power ends up fucking over
that
the
I
working
remember
class.
from the Communist Manifesto is technology invariably hurts the proletariat and makes the bourgeoisie more money. That was the thing that really blew my mind.
Because
when I read that book.
technology, like artificial intelligence and automation, right? That's a beautiful thing. We're all on board with it. Someone's got to fucking clean the toilets. Hopefully it's a robot, not a human being, right?
Takes jobs away from human beings.
However, the way it works is because of the way that our economy is organized right now, when there's any kind of automation, they use that to reduce redundancy. So they will fire someone. So instead of like having someone literally do like 3 hours of work for the same amount of pay, now they fucking fired that guy and loaded the rest of the work load onto one guy who will do 8 hours of work now and have a higher output because there's tech available that will make it so.
And then what do all the other people do that are fired? They start a podcast.
Yeah, that's how it works.
And that's how we are right now.
What is the solution though? Because I can't imagine a business owner honestly doing it any other way.
Yeah, because why would they do it any other way? Because everyone is trained and conditioned into thinking this is the right way to do it, which I personally believe is not the right way to do it. So there are multiple different methods of ensuring this. The immediate thing you can do is unionization, obviously.